Hello and welcome to the discussion of the Monkey's Paw. In the plot review, we've been working on plot structure and understanding how when events change in the story, that affects the overall plot and characters within a story. So this story is a spooky kind of gothic style story set in a gloomy, dark, cold, windy place. So the exposition, if you recall, is the beginning of the story. It introduces the characters, where the story takes place. It gives us that initial conflict. So the setting is England. It's cold, it's dark, it's windy. We have Mr. and Mrs. White and Herbert White as main characters. There are other characters present, but they are the focal characters. The conflict is there's this possession of this mysterious monkey paw that holds special powers and ruins a happy family. So there's this creepy paw of a monkey that is said to hold special powers. And so the monkey paw story starts to go into place, and the enticing incident would be when Mr. White really starts to wish for 200 pounds. And pounds is the money currency in England at this time. So he wishes for, $200 if we were thinking of it in our terms, but the conversion rate's a little bit different. So we have that happen, and then we see Herbert dies, and we know that Herbert was really kind of pushing Mr. White to wish for this money. And then after Herbert dies, Mrs. White is distraught, and she pushes Mr. White to wish for Herbert to come back. She loses her son, and she wants him back, so she asks Mr. White to use the monkey's paw magic to wish to bring Herbert back from the dead. And then all of a sudden the knocking starts on the door, and it gets really creepy and kind of foreboding. So those are the rising actions. So the climax happens when the knocking intensifies, and Mrs. White is trying to open that door. She's struggling to open it, and in the dark, Mr. White's fiddling around trying to find the monkey's paw, and he grabs it and makes a final wish. That's the turning point. That's the point of most tension. And then, after he makes his wish, the knocking stops. Mrs. White opens the door, she runs outside, and sees no one is there, and starts wailing, and these are the following actions, the actions that are the result of the climax. So the climax was the turning point. Mr. White makes his final wish, and the results of that is that the knocking stops, Mrs. White opens the door, and she is upset because she does not see Herbert there. And Mr. White didn't really want to wish for Herbert to return because he was afraid of what state he would see his son in. Would he be the walking dead? He started to get nervous. So we don't know the exact words that Mr. White wishes for, but we can imply that he wishes for Herbert to remain deceased, or he wishes for not to see his son in that state. And so the resolution is the tying up of the story. So Mr. White rushes out to join his wife. He sees no one outside, and the story ends in this manner. So the themes hinted at in the story, is be careful what you wish for, because you might not really want it entirely. Cherish your family. We see the loss of Herbert as devastating to Mrs. White, and so cherish that special time with your family. And then greed often leads to misfortune, because we see Herbert really pushing for that money and that material wealth, and it leads to his death, which leads to the other events in the story.